My father, who used to be head of research at Unilever, was confronted with the idea of instant soup, which was new in those days, 1970.
And in those days it took a long time to boil water. And at that moment my father thought, well, if Unilever is going to make these kind of instant products, I'm going to make instant boiling water. And not long after that he quit his job and started developing the cooker in our basement.
And that moment has determined the fate of our family and was the trigger for the development of the boiling water tap.
My mother sometimes says that she really didn't believe very much in the project.
I can't say I was enthusiastic. I just had the feeling, well, this is coming in my life and I have to cope with it. So be it.
She had to give her support because it was his life.
Han was not driven by money in all these matters. Han was driven by inspiration. This was good, his idea. And it was useful for mankind.
This was a model of which some 40 pieces were made, and they were all sold to acquaintances, family and friends. And two things came out of that market test. One, that it broke down rather quickly because it's a very difficult product to design. And on the other hand, that people loved it, really loved it. So they called my father in the evening, Han, please come and fix my cooker.
In my view, he was not really thinking of stopping, but after a few years it became more difficult and the money ran out. And I can remember that when I was in the secondary school, so end of 70s, that the project was quite low and that he did other things to generate the money for his family.
He couldn't make it on his own. I was wondering what to do, and for me it was a logical choice to join my father and try to make a new start with this fantastic idea.
And then in '85, when Niels graduated, he took it up again, and then together they started up again in the basement.
Here I worked for 5 years, long hours. This is where my father 10 years earlier started, when he had the invention. When I graduated from university in October 1985, I immediately went into this basement, which my friends found very odd, of course.
It was a great moment when Niels said, I'm going to help father, of course. That was not only for Han, but also for me, was it a very good thing.
On Friday nights, I often drank something with Niels, who was still working on the cooker. And at a certain moment, in one of these nights in the cafe, he approached me if I wanted to join in, to take the commercial side of the business.
I simply asked my brother, and what about joining me and try to make a big success out of this invention of our father.
He made it look like it was a completely ready product and sellable product. And there were quite a few problems yet in terms of the product itself, and also it was quite difficult to sell in the beginning.
We went to our first kitchen trader, very proud of course with this new product, and I must say that the reaction from him and others was rather skeptical. In kitchen trade, design is more or less everything. So we felt that we need to change the design that we had been working on. And it was kind of a setback, of course, because we worked so hard on it, but it also was a good lesson. And the second tap we designed was a total hit. Since my father was a physicist, he came up with a crazy idea to use high vacuum insulation, which was a technical industrial process for such a small thing as a household appliance, which a cooker is. And that led to an insulation far more effective than anything else on the market.
It was easy to sell cookers in the beginning of 2004 when we introduced the cooker on a trade fair in Øksenhallen in Copenhagen. We sold around 100 cookers in a weekend, so already then it was a success the first time we introduced it to the consumer.
We were extremely positive and optimistic.
We have for several years had cooker at Noma. We have a cooker installed at Geranium, which is at the moment the best Michelin restaurant in Denmark.
This company was built on a great idea, but we had to show a lot of perseverance, hard work, creativity. And we've done that together, my father, my brothers and I. And I think this spirit is very much amongst our employees. We say simply, if we have a good idea, just make it and try it. If you look at what happened with the sales of the cooker, it wasn't a straight line like this, but it went like this in an exponential way.
Niels and I work very well together. And I think it works so well because we are completely different, and we also have different tasks.
It's actually quite simple. I make the cookers, Walter sells them, and that's about it. There's still your common past and little things that can irritate, but we cope rather well with that. This place is where my heart lies. This is the workshop where we make the prototypes, we make the tooling for production. And this is, of course, what came out of this basement. This is an environment where I'm used to work. And I also try to encourage our designers to work here with their hands themselves, because it makes you a better designer if you have a feeling for the material.
If Han could know nowadays that it is such a success that is in 9 European countries, he would have been so happy, enthusiastic and proud. He had the feeling he was bringing something very good and useful to the whole world, really. He was a man like that.
We are here now in a new building. As you see, we chose for quality by creating a nice and warm environment for our employees. And as you could expect from us, it's also a very green building. We chose for a very environmentally climate system. We have 900 solar panels on the roof, which generate all the power consumption which is used in this new premises. And we took a lot of effort in finding the best acoustic system, because this is all concrete, and it was of course very important that that matter was also taken good care of.
The new Quooker Flex is the next step in Quookerland. The Flex Tap has 4 functions, not just cold and hot water, but of course boiling water, and the pull-out functionality.
Yeah, we've seen with the success of the Flex that we already sold a lot, and in total millions of people use our cooker every day, and that's quite a difference from when we started, when it was a complete niche and only a few people, early innovators, used it, and now it's used by millions of people.
If you look at the customers, they have a bond with the brand, and that is still the case, even now we grow so big.
Yeah, it's still about the family feeling, both internally and also to our customers. Everybody feels a little bit like being a part of a very big family.
Of course, we are now already very busy with the next step.
You're not going to reveal secrets now, hopefully.
No, I wouldn't, but it has to do something with water.